my name is Alora, and I'm the Audience Services Coordinator here at Greenway Court Theatre. And if you didn't know, Greenway Court Theatre is actually a part of a bigger nonprofit organization called Greenway Arts Alliance. And it's three-pronged. One is the theatre, the other is Melrose Trading Post, which is just down the street from us, and is a flea market that actually helps fund everything we do here at the theatre. And then another of the prongs is GIA, which is Greenway Institute for the Arts, which is an after-school program for LAUSD students, but specifically the Fairfax High School students that we share a campus with. And part of the program that we do with GIA is GreenwayReads, where every year the students get teaching artists to come in and teach them from either a book or different source material, and then they get to see professional production here on the Greenway Court Theatre stage. And this year, our GreenwayReads production was Haunted with Native Voices, and we are very excited to bring in Native Voices to collaborate with us and co-produce this show, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Could you please introduce yourselves?
Thank you, Laura. OCO, the Dawado on the Lanagay Deanne, Carol Chun Studi Kwood, Chi Chalagiaya, Oklahoma. Hi everyone, my name is Delana Studi. I'm an enrolled citizen of the Cherokee Nation from Oklahoma, and I'm the artistic director here at Native Voices. And because she's being a little vocal, this is Sadie. She's my dog. She is a Cherokee from Oklahoma as well.
And a mascot, an unofficial mascot of Native Voices. Ani, hello, bonjour, Jennifer Babiwash, Indishnikas, Jijak Nindodem, Nijwajing, and Dojuba. Hello, friends. My name is Jennifer Babiwash. I'm the Artistic Associate at Native Voices, as well as the co-director with Delana Studi for Haunted.
Amazing. And then if I could have you guys talk a little bit about Native Voices as an organization.
Absolutely. Native Voices is the only equity theater in the entire country that is dedicated to developing and producing new plays by indigenous playwrights. And we define indigenous by American Indian, First Nations, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and our founders started Native Voices 31 years ago. Yes, so we've been 31 years of being the only. And I always jokingly say that we don't want to be the only anymore. We're okay with being first. We don't need to be the only.
So we were started because of lack of Native plays.
Right.
Our founders, they're academics, and so they were approached by someone going, "Hey, do you know of any Native playwrights, anything like that?" Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, we should." But they had a really hard time finding that. And they found a few. They were teaching in Illinois at the time, so they had friends and stuff in Canada. So they reached out to some Canadian playwrights. So that's how it started, and then after that, they saw that there was this big hole in the system going. There are not a lot of Native playwrights, and much less you're not going to know them. You're not going to be able to find them, and so we've slowly amassed a pile. And every year, for 30 years, we have a short play festival where we solicit plays from around the country with a particular theme. And so we get plays from that, and then we choose, usually we'll say roughly 10 every year. Okay. So we have, quite a stable of that, and then every year we also have our full-length play festival, same thing. And so we invite 2 to 3 playwrighs from around the country or Canada, wherever really, to come and spend a week here in LA with us. And so they develop their play with dramaturgs, directors, actors, and then with a public stage reading at our current home at the Autry, or somewhere around town, and then we also partner with La Jolla Playhouse, so we also read in San Diego. So that gives us an opportunity to spread Native plays all around. Like Delana said, we could always use more, and we don't want to be the only people out there. And we know that there are other Native theater companies out there, that we talk with and that we share resources with.
Yes, absolutely. And what's interesting is when Native Voices started, I believe the first play festival they had only had 3 plays, and 2 of the playwrights were Canadian, and there was only 1 they could find from the United States. And since then, we get several submissions a year where it's an actual chore just to choose only 3 plays. Right. So we're very lucky. There's so many amazing Native playwrights, not just in the U.S., but in Canada and across, actually, we have one in Belgium.
Yeah, one of our playwrights, he lives in Belgium.
Yes.
So he submits every year.
Every year, he's a fantastic playwright. So we're always lucky to see where we get submissions from.
That's amazing. Wow, I didn't know any of that, so I'm really interested in hearing that too. Okay, great. And then I would love if you could talk a little bit about this current production, Haunted, specifically, and why it feels important right now.
Well, Haunted is a series of firsts. It's It's a national new play network rolling world premiere, which has been going around for quite some time, but this is the first time that a Native playwright has received the honor of having one. And Tara Moses happens to be the first Native person to receive an MFA in directing, ever. So I just have to make sure people don't realize that it's a first in so many ways, shapes, and form, and we are very happy that we get to be part of this role. And the play is called Haunted. It's about two siblings who are tragically killed in a car accident, and because of where their bodies landed during the car accident, that's where they are fated to haunt until they can find a way to go home. And so what Tara has done with this play that I love so much is that there are 6 characters, but one of the most important characters is a character that we never really quite see on stage, but it's the landlight, right? It's the power of the land. The land is talking to us. The land is trying to make itself known if we only listen to what she has to say. And so the play kind of delves deep into what I call indigenous dramaturgy, where it's a straightforward story, but a lot of the main characters are not actual humans.
Right.
And in this case, we're visited by the ghost, and we're visited by the land, and also the ancestors are constantly with us. And so it's a wonderful, like I said, it's a wonderful example of indigenous dramaturgy. But then what Tara has been able to do is tell this highly controversial story about the land back movement, because everyone hears land back and they clutch their pearls.
Or they don't know what it is.
Or they don't know what it is, which is why we have to have a Google it campaign. But it's very terrifying to people. And so she takes this story this movement that has a lot of controversy, and she's able to make it understandable, but also make it poignant and weave it into this very tragic story that's full of 2003 pop music and humor, where you fall in love with these ghosts. You see them as people, and you get to see how they interact, but they also really unpack the land back movement and kind of demystify what that is. Anything you'd like to add, Jennifer?
No, I always love it though, for this play especially, because it's contemporary. Where we talk about the ancestors, we do the smudging and stuff, but it's not so much forward of that, and the land, the character, as we were directing it, Delana was always like, we need more light, we need more sound, just the sound of the land. And it didn't hit me until we were having sound issues, and it came out way louder than I was supposed to, and I was like, oh, like that is what she was talking about, like that we weren't hitting. So like it's such a beautiful moment, to realize that, and at times that it's talking to the siblings as well, and Ash playfully talks back to it, and he's scolded, and there's this fear from it. But I think it's very different from most plays, because we all have our traditional stories, and a lot of the plays we read are based in that, and that's great. But when we can speak to a larger audience, and they don't even feel like they came to a native play. Right. I think that's important. Like, don't get me wrong, because I have this one story that I really want to tell, and it's a legend, but it gives people a different perception about Native people as well, and it leaves you stuck in a certain era. So this kind of makes it more contemporary, and that we live and breathe like everybody else.
Right. Still here.
Yeah.
And what she does that I love most is that we have a sense of humor, because when people think of Native folks, they think of us as like the stoic, leather and feather, living in teepees, hunting buffalo type of people, and they don't think of us as modern day people existing and thriving. And so to see that contemporary Native person on stage with that sense of humor, it really does upend a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah, it's really powerful when there's a bit of playfulness and something that's tongue-in-cheek, like commenting on the tropes and horror about like Indian burial grounds, and those are accessible points for people people are familiar with, and so to kind of reclaim that and turn it on its head and say, we're human beings, these are our stories, this is our relationship to what the consequences and stakes of this actually are. That's like a really fun and accessible, smart way to present this, and it's so true about stories about different communities, as specific as it gets, as universal it is, and it's really amazing. It's been amazing to watch people receive the show because of that. Yeah, and I would love it if you guys could talk a little bit more about the land back movement too, specifically, and like what that means to you. I know you were saying people have like a really strong initial reaction to it, or pearl clutching. I'd love to hear like what you'd like to say about that.
Well, when people hear land back, they actually think that we're going to come and demand their deeds for their houses, and then we're going to deport them.
That's what white people have been doing. So.
And so
projection.
And that's not necessarily what it's about. It's acknowledging the land that you're on, and the fact that a lot of this land and a lot of the ancestral wealth of this country is built on the bones and blood of our ancestors. Yeah. You know, you're wealthy because of what happened to our people. Right. And so just acknowledging that that's the first step. Acknowledging the problem. Yeah. But land back can mean so many different things. It can literally it does mean giving the land back. There are a lot of places that have given land back, either a church, so it may be just like a square acreage of a certain amount of. Yes, Sadie, you tell them. You tell them, Sadie. A square acreage, but it's still a little bit of something. Like sometimes it can be turned into a community house. There are some times where land back is not literally giving the land back, but paying a land tax. Like, okay, I realize I'm living on someone's land right now. I'm going to donate to that tribe, just to give them resources. And then we have other examples here that I love. I want to say the favorite one right now, I mean, they're all very wonderful, but the one that kind of resonates really hard right now for me is this one, the Lost Coast for the Sinkyone. I may have mispronounced that name, for that tribe, because in 2022, 523 acres of old-growth redwoods were transferred to the Intertribal Sinkyone Wilderness Council, which doesn't seem, it's a lot of land, but also what's happening with our National Park Service and how we know we don't have anyone to steward that land. Yeah. And now the tribe is doing what they've always done since time immemorial, which is take care of that land. And they're able, we talk about it in the play, their indigenous ecological knowledge. We're able to plant new plants that are indigenous to this area, and also help prevent the wildfires. And I think that's probably another reason why it's really hitting home right now. Is I currently live in Pasadena, Altadena, and we were greatly affected by the fires, as were so many.
Well, no, interestingly enough, like for me, land back, still I struggle with what that means. Like we have examples like the ways land back happens, like Delaney was saying, you're transferring your land trust to these private owners, to these tribes. You're protecting the marine, your community rent, like Delaney was saying. So it's just like how to fathom that, and a lot of people are frightened by that, and it's just like they're just taking care of the land, and that's really, I don't know, I want to say heartbreaking, really, because don't get me started, but it's just something that's really important to us as Native people.
Well, I think they tackle it in the play. They've taken, like, the way the world views land today is it's a resource to make money off of. Right. They don't think of it as a living, breathing entity, right? And we have to acknowledge it as another living being. And we also have to acknowledge that we would not be here if the land wasn't thriving. And in fact, when the land dies, we all go. And it's like, so it's time someone steps up and takes care of the land. And it's something that indigenous people from across the globe have been doing since time immemorial, but recently with the capitalistic society that we live in, that's right, Sadie, we've started thinking it not as another spiritual being like we are. I know that sounds very new agey, but as something we profit off of. And we just keep extracting, and it's not an endless resource.
No. Yeah, and I think the white man says it the best, right? Because
when in the play.
In the play, that we have our three non-native characters are white man, white girl 1, and white girl 2, which the playwright wanted, just as a symbolic gesture, because we're, as Delaney has said previously, that we're usually just the Indians, in the things. So that's interesting. But the white man does say something in the play, and just again, like every night when we watch it, or we sit back there, I can't watch it. We listen to it. There's just something like new every time, and I mean, I don't know, like I can't even count how many times we watched this or run through it, and it's such an amazing play, and I hope more people get to see it or read it. I hope it gets published and people do it that way, because it's such a current thing, and it helps explain land back in such an unassuming way.
Yeah.
In tangible ways, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can go home and do a little step that they feel comfortable doing. We're not asking you to, jump off the ledge.
Right.
It's like we all have a little thing that we can do to make this land better for the next generation, hopefully the next 7 generations that come.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'd love to hear more about your partnership here at Greenway too, and what that's been like with Native Voices, and love to speak to that.
Well, Greenway has been such a blessing because we're usually at a different location. We're usually at the Autry, which is a museum, and so their theater is a lecture hall that we have to spend, tens of thousands of dollars to build out every time we do a performance. And it's also, it's very inconveniently located in Griffith Park, which is kind of a trek to get to. And so we're very lucky that we actually have a theater space where our actors get to have real lights, a beautiful set, dressing rooms, which is something we don't have.
You say that, but no.
It's a blessing. People don't realize this. And also, what was interesting is we've seen shows at Greenway throughout the years, and we've always loved the space. It's a beautiful space, and we're like, one day we're going to reach out to them. And then one day we did, and they were interested and said, could you send us the script? And we were like, absolutely. And then the beautiful people at Greenway read it and said, this is a story that the students would really like. And we are so lucky. Our student matinees are probably the best matinees we've ever had. Probably the best audiences.
Yeah, hearing the reaction the students have to the show every time is amazing.
It restores my faith in humanity.
It's really amazing.
And so then we have this conversation with them, and what they've done is I say what they've done is a great example of what land back is and could be, which is they've given us this beautiful space, this professional space. You want to go to J-Bo? Go to answer J-Bo. This beautiful professional space, basically for free. And they entrusted us with it. They've given us sovereignty to create here, which is something we don't normally get to do. Usually when we're performing at other locations, their artistic director, their CEO, their president has final say-so in what we put on the stage, and we take their notes. And don't get me wrong, if they're good notes, we will gladly take them. In most cases, it's not necessarily a suggestion. And so, and we didn't encounter that here. We got to have full creative sovereignty, and the fact that a company that doesn't know us gave us this opportunity is just unheard of. And so I say that, what Greenway Arts Alliance and the Greenway Court Theatre has done is they've given us a great example of what land back means, and given us community and showed us that we are so much stronger when we work together. And so we are so grateful for that.
And for our actors, usually in the rehearsal process, you don't get to the stage until week 3, right? It's a 3-week process. Right. Usually we're in the classrooms, with everything taped out on the floor, so you're this is where this is going to be. Right. So we've had the opportunity here, our actors, to be on stage, to be actually walking slowly, because it took a while for the walls and stuff to come up, and it was great every morning when they would come in, they're like, oh, something new happened, but I think a lot of the actors appreciated that, because it's not something that you see a lot of, for your whole 3-week process, so you can get that get that feel, and just how close the audience is too. That's just amazing. That's why I enjoy when we get the students, and you're we see you, we hear you. So just be aware of that, they can see you on stage. So and just the different audiences too. Or granted, our audiences at the Autry. Forget that we're not there. So we've had a couple of nights we were expecting people, and they're like, we're at the Autry, and they're like, oh shoot, we forgot. So for us, it's just also trying to get her out in the city. I mean, we've been in the city roughly 20 years. So just even some people are still Native Voices. There's an all Native, theater. So these are opportunities for us to get out, to different pockets in different communities. So so we are internally grateful.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, we've loved having you here. It's been really amazing to see. I mean, it's exactly what Greenway is all about, which is uplifting unheard voices in our community. I mean, that's right on the money. So,
yes, and we're so grateful.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'd love to hear a little bit about what's on the horizon for Native Voices as well.
Well, do you want to talk about the newest projects that we've implemented? The Director Mentorship Program?
Yeah, so every year, we've worked with fabulous directors, but we always want to, uplift and bring in other people because for us, again, we want to use all Native people, and it's hard to do that. So we're out there creating it. So we have a directors program. We do it on Zoom because our community, we bring in people from all over. So as much as people hate Zoom,
hey, it's a good tool sometimes.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And like, you're in the middle of nowhere, you can take, this class, or even our teachers are from other places, so they're not necessarily based here. So we have a directing program. We have a young Native playwrights program where we, again, solicit applications from around the country, and for kids, I think we have
7th through 12th grade.
Yeah, 7th through 12th grade, to again on Zoom, and just write with us for 8 weeks, where we are the instructors, and then at the end of the 8 weeks, we have our professional actors, and they get read on stage.
So it's a short play festival for the youth.
Yeah, so it's really amazing.
And our inaugural year with that, we had 9 students from 5 different time zones who dedicated 2 hours every Saturday to write a short play. Wow. And all 9 started and all 9 finished. And they all wrote a beautiful play. Yeah.
I mean, that really speaks to like how you are filling a gap that is so needed, for these kids and these students, and providing that for them is really amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always think about, like, I don't know, I want to speak for Jennifer, but when I was their age, when I was 12 years old, no one came to my school to tell me that my voice mattered or that my culture was valid. And so I always jokingly say what we do at Native Voices is my gift to my 12-year-old self, and all the things that I didn't get, and so we have Embers, which is the Young Native Playwrights program. We have the Director Mentorship program, and then we also have our Indigenous Dramaturgy. Okay. And so one of the great things about all those programs is if you are an Indigenous person, we offer them to you for free. So, you just fill out an application, let us know what your time is. We try to find a time that works for the majority of the people. So we, sometimes we have to turn down people just because their schedule doesn't align with the majority. But that doesn't mean that they're, we also record some of the classes so they can watch them online later. And what's interesting about our Indigenous Dramaturgy courses is other theaters that are predominantly not Native are now asking us to come and share how we do dramaturgy, just so that they can learn to appreciate the very different ways many different cultures have of beautifully telling a story. Because it's not just this one westernized way that's been beaten into our brains. There are several ways to tell a beautiful story, and when we allow cultures to tell their story authentically, then we just enrich our shared cultural fabric.
I mean, that's like perfectly said. I don't think I can get better than that. That's really great. Well, thank you so much.
No,
for
thank
talking
you.
With me. I really appreciate it. It's great to hear all about this.
Yeah. Well, we have one more thing on the horizon, if you're okay for it. Is that Native Voices right now, we've been housed with the Autry Museum for 26 years. And we are in a beautiful place right now where we are actually experiencing exponential growth. We have so many opportunities for our people to work outside of the Autry and also outside of Los Angeles. That the Autry's walls and their budget cannot contain us. And so we are in the process of getting sovereignty from the Autry. We will be the first time that we've had full autonomous control, creatively, financially, and we're very excited about that. So that's the next adventure that we are on. But if we want to keep growing and serving our community, we have to break free of the museum's walls, because right now, unfortunately, they're in a financial situation where they can't afford us to grow. And we have these wonderful opportunities to keep growing and serving, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that sounds like it. That's amazing. Well, I can't wait to see you guys soar.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. Was there anything else you guys wanted to say?
Anything you want to say, Bobby Wash?
Over here.
Anything for you, Sadie?
Sadie, any last thoughts?
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.